you is getting harder to fight. That is the opening message coming through here. And this already feels heated, impatient, and very consuming. This feels like somebody who keeps trying to act normal, but the more they try to stay steady, the more you get into them. So let's go ahead and see where you are in this connection right now. What is your overall energy here? Here is the High Priestess. So yes, I feel you already know something is building. You may not have every detail in front of you, but your intuition has been picking up on their pressure. I feel there has been a quiet awareness in you, like you can sense when their attention gets louder. But I do feel your inner knowing has been active and your spirit has not been as unaware as they think. And where is this person right now? Here's the Knight of Wands. This person is stirred up, restless, impatient, and strongly drawn towards you. I feel they are having a hard time sitting with this and a hard time carrying themselves like nothing is happening. And I feel it comes from wanting more nearness, more access, more time, more closeness with you. This may be somebody who can look bold in flashes, but underneath that, there is frustration too. Because wanting you from the edge is no longer satisfying and imagining more with you is only making the ache sharper. And what is going on for both of you right now? Here is the Ace of Wands. Beautiful. So yes, there is a live spark here, a real charge here, and a lot of energy not yet released. This does not feel sleepy. This does not feel stale. It feels lit up, active, and very hard to ignore, especially on this person's side. What else for you? Here is mystery. Yes, and that fits the High Priestess energy so well, because your power right now is partly in what you do not reveal. There is something about your distance, your calm, and your not giving everything away that makes you even more compelling. You are not chasing, you are not over-explaining, and I feel that is making them even more magnetized because your energy is not easy for them to predict, and for them. Here is temptation, wow, yes. So I do feel this person is having a hard time resisting their own thoughts, their own fantasies, and their own urge to move closer. This may be someone who keeps telling themselves to be reasonable, to wait, to slow down, to not do too much. But the harder they try to keep it contained, the more obvious it becomes that their focus keeps circling back to you. For both of you, here is magnetic field. Beautiful. So yes, I do feel there is a strong pull between you two, and I do not think it is one-sided. I think you feel it too, but you are handling it with much more stillness than they are. All right? Two cards coming out for you. Here is silence, and here is radiance. Yes, that is exactly what I am getting. Your silence has weight right now. Your stillness is speaking. Your glow is speaking. And I feel this person is reacting to what you do not say just as much as what you actually do. For them, here is fixation. Wow. So yes, their mind keeps returning to you. Their body keeps returning to you. Their imagination keeps returning to you. And they can barely act unaffected for both of you. Here is threshold. So yes, I do feel this is leading somewhere. This is not energy that wants to stay suspended forever because the pressure itself is becoming too strong. Here is your next energy. Take time to breathe out. Wow. Okay, let's clarify that. Here is strength. Beautiful. So yes, there is intensity here. Yes, there is craving here. Yes, there is a very strong pull here. But your role is not to get swept into this person's storm. Your role is to remain centered, because the more centered you stay, the more clearly you will see whether this person can move from craving into courage. And I feel you have changed too, because with the High Priestess here, you are not the version of yourself that spills everything anymore. You are listening more and watching more closely. And that is one reason they are having a harder time fighting this pull, because your energy feels rare and not easily grasped. So the main energy coming through is this. This person wants more than what they currently have with you. They want more closeness, more time, more reaction, more room inside your life. And the more they sit with that truth, the less control they feel over it, because what they feel is no longer tidy. It is no longer something they can brush off. It is becoming a real pressure inside them. And I feel that pressure is preparing to create movement. Not because you are forcing it, not because you are chasing it, but because their restraint is cracking under the weight of what they feel for you now. All right, let's keep going, because I want to look at some more details here. What are you thinking overall about this person and about this connection right now? Here is the Ace of Cups, the Two of Wands, and the Sunday Wow. Even with everything going on, part of you still feels the sweetness in this. The Ace of Cups tells me your heart still recognizes something sincere and emotionally rich here. The Two of Wands says your mind keeps looking ahead, wondering where this could go if things truly opened. And the Sunday says this person brings warmth into you even when you try to stay composed. So I do not feel your thoughts are shut down. I feel they are hopeful but careful. You may have tried to pull back and stay in your own lane, but part of you still sees possibility around this person. And what are they thinking about you right now? Here's the Page of Cups, the King of Swords, and the Seven of Pentacles. Wow. So I feel this person thinks of you with softness, but they are trying to keep control over that. The Page of Cups says they think of you in a tender way, in a way that makes them feel open. The King of Swords says they are trying to stay measured, watching themselves and editing themselves. And the Seven of Pentacles says they know there is worth investing in here. So I do not feel this person sees you as someone forgettable or temporary. I feel they think of you as someone who got under them, somebody who awakened something difficult to shake off. What are you feeling overall about them right now? Here's the Star, the Lovers, and the Four of Swords. Well, yes, this is deep, because I feel your heart has not gone cold. The Star says there is still openness in you, tenderness, and a wish for something beautiful here. The Lover says this bond still feels meaningful to you, like it carries weight beyond ordinary attraction. And the Four of Swords says at the same time you have needed space from mental noise. So your heart is holding two truths at once. One truth is that you still feel this deeply, and the other truth is that you do not want to lose yourself inside the intensity. And how are they feeling about you right now? Here is the Queen of Wands, the Moon, and the Four of Pentacles. Wow. So yes, they are deeply drawn to you. The Queen of Wands says they see you as alluring, bright, unforgettable, and hard to resist. The Moon says there is a lot happening inside them that they have not fully brought into the light. There are fantasies, worries, hidden layers, and a lot of pull. And then the Four of Pentacles says they are still trying to hold all of this in. Let's clarify that Four of Pentacles. Here is the Nine of Wands. Yes, so I feel this person has been tense, guarded, and defensive about what they feel. It is like they do not know how to be this affected and still feel in control. And one more, here is the Ace of Wands. Wow, yes. So the fire is alive here. The attraction is strong. The urge to move closer is strong. And I feel that is why their inner pressure keeps climbing. So let's look at your intentions toward them right now. Here is the Queen of Swords, the Six of Pentacles, and Judgment. Wow. So your intention is not to float in vagueness anymore. The Queen of Swords says you want honesty. The Six of Pentacles says you want equal energy, and Judgment says you can feel something here is reaching a revealing moment. You are no longer interested in carrying the whole emotional load by yourself. You want to see whether this person can meet what they feel with real action, and what are their intentions toward you right now. Here is the Knight of Cups, the Five of Swords, the World, and the Devil. Well, they want to come closer emotionally, but there is still a fight happening inside them. The Knight of Cups says there is a wish to move towards you with feeling. The Five of Swords says pride, fear, or some self-defeating pattern is in the way. The World says a cycle is shifting, and something can no longer stay where it was. And the Devil says the attachment is intense. They are not free of this at all. So yes, I do feel their intention is to move, but it looks like a person wrestling themselves. What exactly has been blocking them? Here is the Two of Swords. Yes, indecision, hesitation, and not wanting to fully face what this means. Sometimes when a pull is this strong, a person keeps it in a half-lit room, because once they look straight at it, they know it will ask something of them. Let's get another block here. Here is second house. Yes, so comfort, routine, stability, habits, and fear of disruption have all played a role in slowing this down. But I do not feel that old pace is working anymore, because the wanting is stronger now. The inner noise is stronger now. And I feel the more you stay in your own energy, the harder it becomes for them to keep acting. Like this is something they can manage without making a move towards you. All right, let's look at the shared field between you now, because this is where the reading starts showing what the connection itself is doing. How are you both thinking in this connection? Here is the Two of Cups. Wow. So yes, there is mutual awareness here. Both of, there is something alive between you. Both of, there is a charge here. And even if it has not all been said plainly, The Two of Cups says the bond itself is very real. This is not one person inventing intensity while the other feels nothing. This is response. This is echo. This is each heart picking up on the other, even while the outer situation still feels unfinished. And how are you both feeling? Here's the Nine of Swords. Yes, that makes sense. Because this has both of you worked up, for you, it may feel like emotional tension, wondering where this is going and when it will move. For them, it may feel like restless pressure because the more they want you, the less at ease they feel. Let's clarify that Nine of Swords. Here's the Three of Pentacles. So the challenge has not been whether there is heat or whether there is feeling. The challenge has been how to make this real in everyday life, how to move from chemistry into structure, how to move from tension into something that can be built. Because that is what I keep feeling here. The pull is present, the desire is present, the emotional undercurrent is present, but now the connection wants form, it wants movement. It wants something tangible, not only something sensed. So let's look at where this connection is headed in the near future. Here is the Hierophant, the Page of Wands, and the Star. Wow. Okay, with the Hierophant, I feel the next phase wants more seriousness, more honesty, and more conscious direction. The Page of Wands says there is movement, initiative, or bold contact coming in. Something that brings fresh life, fresh excitement, and a change in rhythm. And then the Star says there is healing in that movement, there is relief in that movement, there is a softer atmosphere trying to come in here. I really like this combination because it feels like the connection starts breathing differently. Less hidden pressure, less circling, more visible energy, more actual motion. Let's get another card for the near future. Here is the Eight of Wands. Wow, yes, movement. Speed, things beginning to happen faster after a slower phase. And here is the Hermit reversed. Wow, okay, so someone is stepping out from behind their own inner world. Someone is getting tired of silence, someone is getting tired of distance. And I feel that matters because the inward phase has gone on long enough. Too much imagining, too much holding back, too much wanting with no action behind it. And I feel the next phase begins cutting through that. What advice does Spirit have for you right now? Here is the Ten of Cups. Beautiful Spirit is saying, do not place your happiness on pause while someone else catches up to what they already feel. Your peace matters now. Your emotional world matters now. Your joy does not need to wait for somebody else's timing. Let's get another advice card. Here is self-respect. Yes, exactly. You do not need to become cold. You do not need to shut your heart. But you do need to stay rooted in your worth, because wanting you is one thing, showing up for you is another. And Spirit wants you watching carefully for that difference. Let's see what this person would say to you if they could speak from the heart. Here is the first message. I think about you more than I should, and it is getting harder to hide that. Wow, yes, here is another message. The more I try to calm myself down, the more I end up wanting to come towards you. Yes, that fits perfectly. Here is another. I know that if I keep standing still, I may watch someone else step into the place I want with you. Wow, yes, and that feels very strong. Because I think part of what is pushing this forward is the realization that your life is not frozen. You are not waiting in place forever. You are not pausing your whole world. And the more this person feels that, the more intense their urge becomes. Let's get one more. I know I cannot stay at a distance much longer if I want something real with you. Yes, and that really is the threshold energy here. Because once desire becomes clear enough, inaction starts feeling like self-sabotage. And I feel that is exactly where they are now. So Spirit is saying watch for momentum, not because momentum by itself solves everything, but because momentum tells you that this person has crossed some line inside themselves. They are no longer just feeling, they are preparing to respond to what they feel. And I think once that happens, the tone of the whole connection starts changing because now the fire has direction, now the pull has consequence, and now your heart has something more visible to respond to from here. Okay, let's keep going because I want to look more closely at what is happening inside this person now that the desire is becoming harder for them to contain. What are they most afraid of if they step fully toward this? Here is the Tower. Wow. Yes, this person is afraid of how much changes once they stop pretending they are fine. Because I do not feel they can come towards you halfway and stay untouched. I feel they know this would shift their world in a very real way. What else are they afraid of? Here's justice. Yes, so there is also fear of accountability. They know that wanting you in silence is not the same thing as choosing you in the open. And if they come in now, they may have to face what they delayed, what they avoided, or how long they expected you to remain there. So the fear here is not only about desire, it is also about consequence. It is about knowing that once truth comes out, it changes the field. What do they want most with you now? Here is the lovers. Beautiful. So beneath all the inner conflict, what they want is closeness, reciprocity, and a real choice in the direction of this bond. I do not feel they want to keep hovering forever. I feel there is something in them that wants a genuine place in your life, not just a fantasy of you, not just a private ache, something actual, something shared. And that matters because it shows the center of this is not empty. What would help this connection unfold in the healthiest way? Here is temperance. Wow. Spirit is saying balance, calm, pacing, emotional steadiness, truth without drama. This is not a bond that needs more chaos. It needs enough groundedness for the truth to land well. Let's get another card for what helps. Here is the Three of Pentacles. Yes, grounded effort matters, consistency matters. Follow through matters. If they want more with you, it cannot stay all hunger and no structure. What is the lesson you are meant to take from this phase? Here is the Queen of Swords. Wow. Yes, you are learning how to stay open without becoming vague. You are learning how to feel deeply without abandoning your standards. And that is powerful because it means you can recognize the strength of the bond without handing your center over to it. You can let the truth come forward while still staying rooted in what you need. What is the lesson they are meant to take from this phase? Here is the Hanged Man. Yes, this person has been forced to see themselves differently. They have had to sit with the reality that desire by itself does not move a connection forward. And I feel that perspective shift matters because they are starting to understand that if they truly want you, they cannot keep hiding inside fantasy, ego, or postponement. Something cleaner is being asked of them. Let's get another card for them. Here is Heart Chakra, beautiful. So I feel they are being pushed to live more honestly from the heart, not only ache privately from the heart. That is the actual growth here, not only feeling intensely, but allowing those feelings to influence behavior, timing, and courage. Let's see what else they would say to you. I want you more than I am comfortable admitting. Wow. Yes, that feels very true. Here's another. I thought I could keep this manageable, but it keeps getting stronger instead. Yes. And here's another. Watching you stay in your own energy is making me realize how much I want a real place beside you. Wow. Yes, that says so much. Because I feel your self-possession has made this person's feelings even louder. What are you being asked to remember while all of this unfolds? Here is the Empress, beautiful spirit. Wants you rooted in your worth, your softness, and your natural magnetism. You do not need to perform for this. You do not need to prove anything. You already hold the energy that has them this stirred. You already hold the presence they keep coming back to. And that means you can remain steady in your truth while they decide whether they are ready to move toward you in a real way. Let's get one more. Here's the Star. Wow, yes. Stay open to healing. Stay open to a better outcome than what has been here before. But do not let another person's storm become your emotional center. Because I feel the deepest guidance here is this. Let their craving reveal them, but let their actions define the next chapter. That is how you stay in your power while the connection moves into a more visible phase. And I do feel that visible phase is getting closer now. All right, let's get deeper into the messages now because I feel there is a lot this person has wanted to say but has not fully known how to bring out cleanly. Here's the first message. I cannot stop thinking about being closer to you, and it is getting harder to act like that is not true. Wow, yes, that fits everything. I do not feel this person is lightly interested. I feel they are preoccupied. And I feel the preoccupation is growing. Here is another. I want your attention, your warmth, your time, and your nearness more than I want to admit. Wow, yes. And that says a lot because it shows this is not only attraction. It is a craving for access, a craving for space in your world. Here is another. When I imagine you giving your energy elsewhere, it throws me off more than I expected. Yes, because I think this person is being forced to face how emotionally attached they already are. Let's get another message. What is most alive in their heart right now? Here is, I want to be the one you turn toward. Wow. Yes, that feels very important. because it is not only about wanting you in theory, it is about wanting to matter to you specifically. It is about wanting your focus, your openness, your softness, your time. What are they still hesitant about? Here's the Seven of Wands. Yes. So there is still defensiveness in them. They worry about your reaction. They worry about whether your heart is still open in the same way. And they worry about what they will have to reveal if they stop hiding how strongly they feel. Let's clarify the Seven of Wands. Here's the Five of Pentacles. Wow. Yes. Another fear is being shut out. Another fear is realizing they cannot simply appear and expect everything to be available to them. And one more, here is Judgment. Beautiful. So the reason this still moves is because the inner call is stronger than the hesitation. What they feel has reached a point where silence feels like the worst outcome. What do they secretly hope for? Here is the Six of Cups. Yes, they hope the sweetness is still there. They hope the thread between you still carries warmth. They hope there is still tenderness to return to if they step closer. And I do feel that matters a lot to them. What does Spirit most want you to know about that? Here is the Queen of Wands. Whoa, Spirit wants you to remember the strength of your presence. Your energy has left a mark. The way you look, the way you move, the way you carry yourself, and the way your attention lands have all stayed with this person much more deeply than they have said. Let's get another message from them. I am tired of wanting you in private. Wow. Yes, that feels like the real shift, because private wanting can only go so far before it starts becoming its own kind of pain. Here's another. I think about taking up a real place in your life, not just staying in the edges of it. Yes, and that says so much because it shows the longing is starting to turn toward actual intention. That is a very important change. What would help this next phase most? Here is the Knight of Pentacles. Beautiful Spirit is saying slower, sincere steps are better than impulsive moves made only from frustration. If they come closer, let it be because they are becoming steadier, not simply more overwhelmed. That matters here. Let's get another card. Here is the Wheel of Fortune. Wow. Yes, timing is turning, the cycle is shifting. And I feel that is why the energy looks so pressurized now. What used to stay in private thought is starting to want outer movement. What used to stay buried is beginning to rise. And that rise matters. What are you being asked to do with that? Here is the Empress and the Queen of Swords. Beautiful softness and clarity together. You do not need to harden. You do not need to chase. And you do not need to respond to somebody else's pressure with pressure of your own. You simply remain in your worth and let the next move reveal what this person is actually ready for. Because if they want you this much, then the next thing must be effort with shape, not only feeling with no follow through. Let's get one more message from their heart. Wanting you this strongly is forcing me to be more honest with myself than I wanted to be. Wow, yes, and that really is the core of the reading. The wanting is not the issue is what they do with it. And I feel the next step matters because it tells you whether they can turn raw desire into clear intention, cleaner contact, and more mature movement. And I do feel they are getting very close to that threshold. All right, let's close this out with some final messages because this reading feels like it is bringing private hunger toward a much more visible threshold. Here is the first closing message. I want you more than I know how to say, and keeping that inside has made me restless. Wow, yes, that is exactly the heart of this reading. This person has been carrying more heat, more focus, and more need than they have been comfortable admitting. And I feel the reason it matters so much now is because the silence is not lowering what they feel. It is making it louder. It is making it harder to manage. Here's the next message. I do not want anyone else getting the closeness with you that I keep imagining for myself. Wow, yes, and that is intense. But it also shows how personally they are taking this now. Here's another one. I know that if I keep standing still, I could end up watching you move your life in a direction that does not include me. Yes, and that realization feels like one of the biggest turning points here, because time no longer feels endless to them. Your life no longer feels paused for them, and that changes everything. It changes the urgency. It changes the choices that come next. What does Spirit most want you to remember? Here is the Ten of Pentacles. Beautiful Spirit wants you to remember that your future is not meant to revolve around someone else's delay. Your life is full, your path is rich, and anything entering your world should add steadiness, care, and substance. Let's get another advice card. Here is the Star. Yes, Stay open to healing. Stay open to a brighter direction than what has been here before, but do not let another person's urgency become your emotional burden. And let's get one more. Here is the Queen of Swords. Exactly. Clarity belongs here. Boundaries belong here. Truth belongs here. You can understand why someone feels this strongly and still require them to show up in a way that honors your peace. What is the highest potential here if both people honor what is being revealed? Here is the Two of Cups and the King of Pentacles. Beautiful. So the highest potential is mutual feeling meeting reliability. Not only longing, not only fantasy. Something with actual weight that matters, because this reading is not only about being wanted, it is about whether being wanted begins turning into being chosen, being respected, and being approached with real presence. What would they say to you if no pride and no fear were left in the way? Here is the first message. I only want you, and I am tired of acting like that is not true. Wow. Yes, and that feels like one of the clearest statements here. Here is another. I have been trying to stay cool, but all it has done is make me more aware of how much I want you. Yes, that makes sense, because suppression has not created distance for them. It has created more inner pressure instead. Here's another one. The more I picture losing my chance with you, the more I realize I need to do something real. Wow. Yes, and that tells me the next chapter is not meant to stay in imagination. The imagination has done its job. It has shown them the truth. Now action has to answer it. That is the message. Let's get one final oracle card. Here is truth. Wow. And here is another. Approach. Beautiful. So I feel the closing energy is very simple. Truth wants approach now. Truth wants movement now. Truth wants to become more visible. So the final message I am getting is this. This person wants you very strongly. They think you are beautiful in a way that reaches beyond appearance. They are not casually interested, they are not halfway curious, and they are not as detached as they may have tried to look. Spirit is also saying this. Desire alone is not enough. What matters from here is whether this person allows what they feel to make them braver, steadier, and more sincere. Because if all they do is ache for you in silence, nothing really changes. But if the wanting pushes them into truth, then the whole connection can begin shifting. If you have felt them becoming more intense, more watchful, or more energetically loud lately, I feel you are reading that correctly. Something inside them has crossed a line. They know they want you, they know they are affected by you, and they know somebody else could take the place they keep imagining for themselves. That matters here. For now, stay calm, stay grounded. Stay in your worth, because the more you do that, the more clearly you will see whether this person is moving from attraction into honest effort, and from honest effort into something that can actually hold. And here is one final closing message. Wanting you this much has stripped away every excuse I used to hide behind. Whoa. Yes, that feels like the ending. The intensity broke through the defense. Now we see what they do with the truth that remains. Here is the first closing message. I want you more than I know how to say, and keeping that inside has made me restless. Wow. Yes, that is exactly the heart of this reading. This person has been carrying more heat, more focus, and more need than they have been comfortable admitting. And I feel the reason it matters so much now is because the silence is not lowering what they feel. It is making it louder. It is making it harder to manage. Here is the next message. I do not want anyone else getting the closeness with you that I keep imagining for myself. Wow, yes, and that is intense. But it also shows how personally they are taking this now. Here's another one. I know that if I keep standing still, I could end up watching you move your life in a direction that does not include me. Yes, and that realization feels like one of the biggest turning points here, because time no longer feels endless to them. Your life no longer feels paused for them, and that changes everything. It changes the urgency. It changes the choices that come next. What does Spirit most want you to remember? Here is the Ten of Pentacles. Beautiful Spirit wants you to remember that your future is not meant to revolve around someone else's delay. Your life is full, your path is rich, and anything entering your world should add steadiness, care, and substance. Let's get another advice card. Here is the Star. Yes. Stay open to healing. Stay open to a brighter direction than what has been here before, but do not let another person's urgency become your emotional burden. And let's get one more. Here is the Queen of Swords. Exactly. Clarity belongs here. Boundaries belong here. Truth belongs here. You can understand why someone feels this strongly and still require them to show up in a way that honors your peace. What is the highest potential here if both people honor what is being revealed? Here is the Two of Cups and the King of Pentacles. Beautiful. So the highest potential is mutual feeling meeting reliability. Not only longing, not only fantasy. Something with actual weight that matters, because this reading is not only about being wanted, it is about whether being wanted begins turning into being chosen, being respected, and being approached with real presence. What would they say to you if no pride and no fear were left in the way? Here is the first message. I only want you, and I am tired of acting like that is not true. Wow. Yes, and that feels like one of the clearest statements here. Here is another. I have been trying to stay cool, but all it has done is make me more aware of how much I want you. Yes, that makes sense, because suppression has not created distance for them. It has created